What's up, YouTube? My name is the Lazy Tryhard, and today we are going to be continuing our libgdx tutorial game development series. And today what I thought I'd do is cover physics. And again, this is not me generating these really brilliant physics algorithms. We're going to be integrating libgdx version of Box2D, which is like a physics engine. So today I thought I'd kind of give a basic overview of that and just go from there. So first what we're going to want to do is, I'm not going to basically, let's see, no, I don't want that one. Main? No, yes. Okay, so what I want to do is, obviously we have our play screen or whatever. But what I want to do is create another button that goes to our physics tutorial so that we can have another screen to work with, because I like the screen how it is. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to refactor this and rename it to, let's just say, play button. And that should update everything. Cute little trick for all you guys. So play button. It was once button, now it's not. So next we're going to make like a physics button. And it'll be literally the same thing. So I hate copy and pasting, but we're just gonna copy all this and paste it once, paste it again, but change this to physics button, and do that to all of these. And you're gonna add that, and we don't need to reinitialize the input processor. And we're going to put that there, and we do not need this. We don't need our input. We just need the thing to switch. So we're going to get rid of that bracket, and that should work. All right. So we should have a physics button as long as we add it to the stage. So I want to see where that adds it very quickly. So I'm assuming it's right underneath it. Actually, it's probably right on top of it because that's our location. So what you're going to want to do is go to button. We're going to change it to physics, and we're going to this width's going to be the same, height's going to be the same. The position is going to be different. So we don't want it in the middle. We want it kind of down a little bit. So we want the same x, but we want to change the height to, let's do gdx.graphics.height divided by 4. Let's just do that and see where that puts us. Okay, so that's perfect. We have our cute little button there. So physics. So now we have to obviously give it some touch input or some properties. And all we want to do is game dot, not capital, game dot set screen. And it requires a screen, and we're going to take a physics screen, and it's just going to take the game. We're not going to put the player in, because this is not going to deal with the player at all. This is just going to deal with physics for right now. So it's obviously going to be like, what the heck's a physics screen? Well, we obviously have to make that class. So we're going to do physics screen, and as to extends screen or its implements. It's been a while since we've used screen implements, and you're going to import that and add unimplemented method. So now we have a perfectly good physics screen. So now once we run the program, we shouldn't have any errors. Alright, never mind, we should have some errors because we have to make the constructor. So public physics screen game, and this dot game equals game, and we have to add game up here. So game. So you have to import that, and it should work. No more errors, and we should, actually it has to clear it, but you kind of saw how it froze. We have to clear the screen, which to do that you have to, let's just copy it because this is really like long, gross code. Now I've never memorized. So render it. This clears it. So this clears the screen. So now when we do it, it should, yep, it clears perfectly. So it goes straight to black. So now we have a perfectly good screen to work with. So physics Box2D. let's get right into it. We're going to want to initialize a couple of things. We're going to want a world. Now this world is basically the environment in which all of our 2D physics objects are going to operate. And so if we do that, or if we initialize it to world equals new world, it's going to take a vector 2, I believe. Yeah, a new vector 2, and within that vector 2 we're going to do that and that, and I'm going to set that to true. So this just initializes the world at so the gravity is basically just, it takes a x gravity, how far you want it to be pulling left and right, and how far you want it pulling down. Obviously we want -10 because the y will be negative, so we'll be falling. So and then finally just the true stands for the sleep. That's just a performance issue. If the bodies aren't moving, it can go to sleep. So that's that for right now. So what we're going to want to do next is initialize a couple of other variables. We're going to make these static final floats, which means, you know, it's just these values will not change. World to box equals, it's got to have a little undercolon in it, or oh my gosh, one of those things, and it's going to be 0.1 f and f, that's the one, and then static final float box to world. And we'll deal with these variables in a sec, but again, I'm taking this right off the website because I've worked with all of this stuff. I've worked with Box2D before, but the best way to do it, I feel like, is to get it straight from the wiki page, which I'm doing right now. I'll explain all these in a sec, but if you want a thorough explanation, if I don't explain it well enough, I'll put a link in the description to where I'm getting all my stuff. So what we're going to want to do next is, now that we have this world, we have to render this world. So we're going to have to do that using a debug renderer, and that's going to be a Box2D, and I think it should be right, debug renderer, and we're just going to call it renderer, and that'll render awesomely, and we have to obviously initialize that to the following. We don't have to add any parameters, we just have to initialize it. So so now that we have a renderer, we have the world, we want to obviously work through the world. We want to update the world, and we also want to render the world. It's kind of like a world renderer and a world updater, like we've had before with our projects that we're working on. We want something to handle the game logic, and we want something to handle the game drawing. So that's what the world and the renderer do. So to update, we want to do world .step. And it's going to float. It's going to look at the following times. So time step, the amount of time to simulate. That, again, don't really worry about that. And then velocity iterations and stuff like that. Again, don't worry about that. It's just really like gross physics stuff that I obviously don't want to deal with. 160 over f is obviously kind of like the like 60 seconds in a minute. And then 6 and 2. Don't worry about that. This just generates the world perfectly. So you're also going to want to render this world. So we're going to do renderer.render. And it takes the world that you're rendering, and it takes a projection matrix. Well, we need a camera for that. So we're going to do cam.combined. And if we do that right now, it's going to give us an error because we obviously don't have a camera. So we're going to also want to make an orthographic camera and call that cam. And then we're going to want to initialize that in here as well. New orthographic camera that takes in the following, dadgummit, viewports. So gdx. Oh my gosh, .graphics, .get width, and gdx .graphics .get height, and that should do it perfectly. So we have our camera, we have our world stepper, and we have our world renderer. So so now this cam.combine, we're going to do cam.update as well, just for ish and giggles. So I'm hoping this will all work. So we get this black screen. Nothing's been initialized because we don't have anything. We don't have a object to run. So what we're going to do now is kind of create these bodies that we can work with and apply gravity to. So what you're going to do first is create this thing called a body def. We're going to call it body def. It's going to equal new body def, and you're not going to put any variables in it. So you got to import that, and this is kind of just going to be like the definition, like kind of like what we said, kind of a definition of our body. We have to give it certain characteristics, and we have to give it positions and stuff like that. So to do that, we have to do it through the following method. So body def dot type. This is the first thing that you're going to want to set. And you're going to want to do body type. That's a call to the high class, and you're going to get these, the hierarchy class, or whatever you want to call it. You're going to get dynamic body, kinematic body, and static body. A dynamic body is what you're going to really work with the most. That's the ones that are affected by gravity. So if like you're a player and you're jumping, you want that player to fall down. A kinematic body kind of deals with it. It's kind of a weird case. I don't really use it that much. But a static body is the final one that we're going to be working through, and it's kind of like something that is unaffected by gravity, so that it is like literally just, it's static. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. So right now we're just going to do dynamic so we can see that it's affected by gravity, and we're going to say body def dot position dot set, and you're going to set it to either a vector2 or a float. So we're just going to set this for 100, 100, and that should be perfect. So now that we have our body definition, that doesn't mean we have an actual body. A definition is it gives us the characteristics for a body. But next we're actually going to create the body. And to do that, you're going to do body, and we're just going to call it body, equals to world dot create body with the body def. So this just creates the body and integrates it within the body and into the world. So that works perfectly. Now we have to give it kind of like a shape, and you're gonna have different kinds of shapes. You're gonna have like a circle shape. I think there's like a square, or there's like a rectangle shape. There's a couple of shapes that you can work with. For right now, with the dynamic bodies, we're just gonna work with a circle shape. And to do that, you're gonna do circle shape circle equals new circle shape. And this, like, since we've given it kind of the body def, the characteristics, now we have to give like the shape characteristics, if that makes sense. So like we have the type, we have the position, but we don't know what the circle or whatever body we're trying to create is going to be. So we have to import that, and so circle dot set radius. Right now we're going to set it for a pretty high number, 10f, and that just obviously, again, sets the radius. So now, again, we'll get there. We'll get to the part where we actually get to see all this work out. But we have to make one final thing, which is a fixture def. And we're going to call it fixture def and equals new fixture def. And we're going to have to import that. And if you can kind of like go into it. It's a fixture definition is used to create a fixture. This class defines blah blah blah. So it's kind of just like a fixture, which is a big physics term. But basically, what it also does, it kind of like associates a, I guess, a group of body defs and stuff like that. It's again going to be easier when I explain it or kind of go through the code. So we're going to do the following: fixture def dot shape equals circle. So we're going to cast this circle shape into this fixture def. Fixture def dot density, and this is obviously like how dense an object is. If the object is really dense, it's going to be a lot heavier, whereas opposed to if an object isn't as dense, it's going to not be as, heavy, so it's going to fall at a slower rate. So 0.5 f fixture def dot friction, that's like how it's like when you skid across the body, how much does it stop. We're also going to just set this for like 0.5 f, and then finally fixture def dot restitution, and this is kind of, I guess, like the most difficult to understand. Not really most difficult, but like, you don't really see it that much, but basically it's how much it bounces. So basically, like, if it to equal 1, and like I made these decimals for a reason. It only goes up to 1. Past 1, it doesn't matter. Like you won't change the value. So like if you have a 0.6, it'll bounce like 0.6 of the amount, like the height of the height. So 6/10, 3/5, whatever. So like if you drop a ball, it'll come up at like 3/5 the length of where you dropped it in the beginning. So that's it for fixture defs. And then finally we get to make a fixture, and body.create fixture, and we've made the fixture def. Okay, so now we have everything done out. So we have the body definition, we define the body, we put the body in the world. We have the fixture, we put the fixture definition, we put the fixture in the world. So again, now I want to say it's going to work, but I can't be totally certain. We're just going to run with it. And alright, awesome. So we kind of see this. It's at 100, 100. It's falling, it's falling, it's falling, it's falling. Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh. Alright, it's at the end of the screen. Well, crap. What do we do now? So we're going to give it a static body to kind of just show to show that gravity's like actually affecting it and stuff like that. So that's kind of just like a good examples. We can move the positions. So like say we wanted it 50. Then we could like run it again, and it's over here now. So it's going straight from the middle. That's the one thing. The origin is in the middle. It's not like to the bottom left like libgdx normally is. It literally 0, 0 is right there. So we have a cute little fixture right there that kind of does that. So let's see. You can play with these densities and friction and stuff like that. So like density. It's kind of hard to tell, I guess, but I think that's what basically it's basic. I mean, you guys know what density, friction, restitution, all that is. Restitution is the easiest to see because I'll show you in a sec. Like if we change it to 1, it'll just keep bouncing infinitely. But like gravity, I guess. So like if we change that to 50, that's gonna be really fall a lot faster, as you can already tell. And you can see it's like accelerating. It's not just like going the same speed as it's falling. It's actually, you know, going to hit the eventual what's it called, terminal velocity, and it's going to like it's going to go at the consistent pace, but it's building up to that space. So we're going to next create a static body. So now we're going to make a body def, and this is going to be the ground, and we're going to make that a new body def. And you can like reuse some of this code, like fixture def you should be able to reuse, and if like you have a bunch of circles, then you should be able to do that as well. So ground, we're going to set the ground def dot position to ground dot position equal to, or dot set to, we're just going to set it to 0, 10, which is basically the origin going up a little bit. So when we have our position right, what do we set the position? We're going to set that, obviously, we're going to keep that at 0, but we're going to change this to 100, so it's above the ground, so that once we finish it, it can like bounce off, and we're going to have any weird collisions or anything. So the next thing you want to do is create the body, and it's going to be a ground body equal to not new world dot create body ground. So kind of what we've already done, and then finally you're going to want to do a polygon shape, and that's kind of like, that's basically like we have circle shape, but now we have a polygon shape, and it's going to be a square, or it's going to be like a rectangle, square, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to call it the I'm just going to call it ground shape. If I've already, nope, alright, that works, and it's going to equal new polygon shape. So you're kind of getting like a pattern for like how this is working out. You want to create a body def, create that body, create that shape, and then finally the fixture def, so that you can all like it all works out. And we're going to do the same thing here. So let me see here. ground box, or ground shape, I'm sorry, dot set as box. Now this is going to basically make sure that our things like extends the entire X of the camera. So that's kind of hard to explain. Dot view, or we can just do GDX dot graphics dot get width, and then you want to do 10F. So basically, it's going to set the set as box is like the so you're setting the, I guess, the parameters for the X and the Y. So gdx.graphics.getWidth.getHeight will set it as the height, like how wide the I guess game screen is for right now, and then the Y kind of does the same thing for the height. So ground shape dot create herpder, I'm sorry, ground body dot create fixture, there we go, fixture def, and we've already kind of created the fixture def sheet. So basically we're just creating a fixture, but we've already kind of done that, so we're just going to do ground shape and just set that to 0. So that'll work perfectly. So we're basically creating the fixture from the ground shape, and you can kind of go onto this with the shape that we've already created. So we don't have to go through all this code again. That was freaking annoying. So if we run that right now, we have this box that extends to the entire viewport, and then we kind of see it bounces up all the way, and then okay, so you're kind of seeing like it's going 3/4 of the way. If we change the restitution to 1, we can kind of see how it'll basically go the same place. It'll go like back to the same place, I want to say. Yep. So you kind of see like the bounciness. We're going to change that back to 0.6. But you can do so much with the physics and stuff like that, because like with a platformer, whatever you want to do, if you want to make it go faster or anything like that, actually I don't know why we created those variables. I thought I was going to use those. But for right now, that's the basics, and I'm sorry that's a really rough description. I've kind of just been playing with it and kind of going with, you know, what we're going to do. And we're just, again, I'm sorry I'm so touchy on it because I haven't really worked with it as much as I'd like to. It's a really good thing. It's like a really good program, but like it's very CPU intensive. Like if you add a lot of objects, it's kind of hard for things to work if you like in terms of FPS. So again, I'm going to answer all your guys' questions. This was kind of a rough go in terms of trying to figure out all the physics, but like play around with it. That's the best recommendation I can give for you guys, because that's what's really going to show you guys how this thing works. So basically, like I said, you need to create a world, have the camera set to that world. You have to have a renderer to, I guess, debug it, and then you have to create the body defs to give the definition of the body, so give it a type and a position. You create the body so that you kind of have like that definition, what kind of shape we're dealing with, and you give that properties. And then the fixture def is kind of like the hardest thing to understand, but it kind of gives that the properties that you're going to deal with in the world. And I don't, let's see. So again, rough sketch. I hope you guys understand it. If you don't, please just play with it. The link will be in the description to the tutorial that I went through. I kind of made a couple changes, but ultimately this is the main thing. So thank you so much for watching this kind of rough take. That, whoa, 24 minutes. I think it's like a new high for me. But thank you so much for watching. Please rate, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys later.